In the previous tutorial, we had a look at how to use one of Flash's ready-made button symbols and add an action to the symbol. Using a button symbol that we've created ourselves is exactly the same process, but I'm going to show you how to actually create your own button symbol in this tutorial. First of all, we click on Insert New Symbol. Exactly the same process as creating a movie clip symbol. Make sure the type selected is button, and I'm going to call this BTN previous. Okay. You'll notice we've got the four states as discussed in the previous tutorial. The up state is the state we see on the stage. The overstate if somebody hovers over the button with a mouse. The down state when the button is clicked. And the hit state doesn't change the appearance, it just specifies the clickable area. So first of all, in the up state, I'm going to use the oval tool and I'm going to go to the properties, and I'd like the fill to be a nice gradient. Hold down shift to get a perfect circle, and there's my object. I'm just going to move that to here to be central. It doesn't really matter because it's easy to move it around on the screen. And then I'm going to use the polystar tool to draw a triangle. Now the polystar tool, in the properties there's options and you can choose the number of sides. I want to draw a triangle, so I'm going to stick with 3 sides, and I'm just going to draw a little triangle there. Actually, I want the fill of the triangle to be black, and just going to bring this down to here, and I'm going to use the free transform tool to turn it around. Here we go. The next thing I'm going to do is in the overstate, I'm going to click on insert keyframe, and then I'm going to change the color of the gradient. The way I do that is go to the color palette, and I'm going to double click on the green, and I'm going to make it red. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to move this using a couple of arrows up, just to give the illusion of the button moving when the mouse is hovered over. The next state, I'm going to say insert keyframe again for the down state. Again, I'm going to go to my gradient, and I'm going to edit the gradient to be a sort of dull grey color. So double click, grey, and I'm also going to change this color, the little triangle arrow in the middle, I'm going to change that to be a nice bright red. And then I'm going to look at this. You can see this is what my button will look like when we click on the button. Then I'm going to go back to scene 1. Now you can see the button doesn't appear on the stage, but it is in my library. I've got my button previous in the library. So the next thing I need to do is I need to add a new layer, and I'm going to call this previous button, and click on here and drag the instance of button previous onto my stage. And then I'm going to just turn that around slightly. And always, if you're going to add an action to a button, what you need to do is give the instance a name. So I'm going to call it BTN PREV. And then finally, I can add an action to my button. So an action to go to the previous scene. Again, I click on my actions. So add an action, click on actions, right click, click on actions, then select the symbol, click on code snippets, and you're going to go to the previous scene and play. Just a note here, if you want to go to a particular scene, you can click on go to scene and play, and that's what we'll be using when we go back to the navigation screen with the home button. So you can actually, you need to know the name of the scene, so that's why naming your scenes is quite important. So for here we're going to say click to go to previous scene and play, and the code is inserted for us. And that's the end of this tutorial, where you've seen how to create an original button and add an instance to your stage. Remember, you can add as many instances of the button to your scenes as you wish. Once you've created the button, you don't have to create it again.